coronavirus pandemic. Remember the virus that China unleashed into the rest of the world, and the Democrats used it as an excuse to lock down the entire economy. The US was looking at its finest economy in generations. The labor market, tight, stocks, soaring. And despite extremely low interest rates, inflation was low and growth was relatively constant and fairly high. And then came COVID, the riots, and now Joe Biden. Joe Biden wants to blow out the budget so big that in real dollars, it will outpace what we spent during World War II. And even if you believe in Joe Biden's economic theories, they still don't hold true. We are looking at the sort of stagflation that will make the 70s of Carter look like a field day. In medieval French, there was a term called seigneurage. It was the right of the crown to print money, and specifically the right of them to levy an informal tax on the citizens. In essence, you have a coin, fiat currency, that could potentially cost more to make than the actual value. That difference wound up recouping all of the crown's losses in debts, which is pretty much what's going on right now. Our M1 and M2 money supply have never been greater. Our economic growth artificially hampered, and exacerbating it is Joe Biden's unemployment policies, artificially keeping people at home. So what exactly are we in for with Biden's spending plan? $6 million of spending, not in a time of war, when the previous fundamentals of the economy were already strong. Just as John Maynard Keynes had an important slogan to spend against the wind, Keynesians ignored that. Republicans and Democrats alike like to spend big during times of economic booms, and then during economic busts, spend some more. The result, $28 trillion in our national debt. Joe Biden is taking a similar approach to MMT, that is modern monetary theory. Under this radical leftist theory, it's the idea that you can spend indefinitely with one single bound constraining how much you can spend, and that is inflation. Under the MMT model, which the Squad and Bernie like to use to justify their endless plans for $32 trillion Medicare for all bills and almost $100 trillion Green New Deal packages, you can spend so long as you're growing. The issue? The economy isn't growing, and even prime proponents of MMT like Stephanie Kelton are admitting that Biden's plan is flawed. We're looking at protectionist stagflation, the worst of all worlds. Biden won't go tough on China, but he will try and enact other nativist policies that hamper the US dollar. Biden won't immediately call for ending all of the lockdowns and restarting American renewal, but he will say we need more taxes. He will say we need more regulations. And on top of that, he has Jerome Powell running the Fed, who is already committed to not raising interest rates from near zero amounts, something that was already unprecedented prior to COVID and now even more so. So if it feels like your gas bill, your rent, your grocery bill have all gotten bigger while your paycheck remains the same, it's not a coincidence. This is Biden's economic agenda, and the only way to fix it is 2022.